Hello, I'm John Beatty and welcome to Cask to Glass, the whisky podcast where I explore the heritage and flavour of Scotland's national drink and the world's favourite spirit. Now, in this episode, it ends up being one of the most extraordinary conversations I've ever had about people in Europe buying whisky because they're living for today, unsure about being alive tomorrow. How Ukraine used to supply a huge amount of barley for Scotch whisky, and how my guests helped topple the fraudulent cask business. Let's hear from Viktorija and Kenny Macdonald from Dràm Mòr. Viktorija, Kenny, hello. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
Where are you? That looks nice, Viktorija. Where are you based?
We are based in Helensburgh at the moment.
Beautiful part of the world. And we'll get on to kind of place and sense of that in a minute, but take me back to where you came from in terms of the whiskey industry. Kenny first. What did you used to be?
I had many different hats. I was a meat inspector for the Food Standards Agency, so at the time the Meat Hygiene Service. But I had an ex-wife that if I could earn £10, she could spend 12. So I always had two jobs. So I was also the wondrous, glamorous role of a nightclub bouncer for 27 years.
Were you? Whereabouts?
Yes, I have seen every form of stupidity the human race has got to throw at me.
Did you? When I was an accountant, I did the insolvency of a couple of nightclubs. One in Perth. It wasn't you, was it?
No, it wasn't me. I started off in the Duck Bay Marina, Loch Lomond, back in its heyday. Jumped around a wee bit thereafter and finished in Òran Mór in the west end of Glasgow.
A mile away from me.
Well, to this day, that's the base of our whisky club and stuff like that. It's an important place for us. So as far as the whisky industry goes, it's Victoria's fault. But let's be perfectly clear about that. So I came home from work one evening and Victoria had said to me, "Why do you do what you do? You obviously hate it." I went, "Well, of course I hate it. It's my job." And she said, "Some folk really enjoy what they do." And you know, to my utter shame, John, I laughed at her. I went, "That's the most naive thing." I had never met anyone who genuinely loved what they do. And she's like, "You've got one run at this. It's not a dress rehearsal. What would you love to do?" And I thought, well, what would I love to do? I love my sons. I couldn't prostitute them. That would be wrong. I love my football club. I'm a St Mirren fan. The owners can't make money out of that. Never mind me. I love whisky. And she planted a seed in that empty cavern there that just would not go away. And I was very fortunate where shortly after it, there were voluntary redundancies coming out.
Right.
And I put my hand up. I said, "I'll go. I've had it. I'll go." Scariest thing I've ever done. You were stepping into the abyss. But there is nothing more, how would you put it? Nothing is going to drive you more. Nothing gives you more incentive than not knowing where the next penny's coming from.
Yeah.
So you work damn hard at it. And yeah, we've done okay.
Yeah.
But
liberating is the word. One of the last things my dad said to me before he died was, "Son, don't work at a job you don't enjoy." And I quit my job on the Monday and retrained. Viktorija, what about you?
So I used to work in the European Commission delegation before Lithuania joined the European Union. And at that time, it was Scotland who was looking after Lithuania's education sector in particular. So I ended up working with Scottish Colleges International here from the West Coast, and we did over 100 educational projects between Scotland and Lithuania. And now our college and university sectors, they are aligned as far as qualification goes. And that's why now there are so many Lithuanian students in colleges and universities in Scotland. So that's what happens. And in the framework of one of the projects, when we were doing some student exchanges and stuff like that, so I ended up in Òran Mór, in Glasgow's West End, and I met Kenny over Dalmore. So that whiskey has a lot to answer for.
You like the word "more," and obviously the word "more" in Gaelic, Viktorija, means
big, emotionally big.
Yes, large.
Big.
That's why she married me.
Very good.
Say the name of the brand then.
So when we're putting Dràm Mòr together, all my family come from the west coast of Lewis. I'm born and bred down here, but they're all Hebridean. Now my Gaelic is atrocious. It's shameful. If I even try, instantly people say, Sassin, go back to English. For pity's sake, you're murdering that. But as a kid, I was known as Coinneach Mòr, Big Kenny.
Wow.
So it was always, there's a lot of Kenny McDonald's. So you've got to differentiate which Kenny McDonald's. So I was Big Kenny, Coinneach Mòr. And when I was thinking of a name for the brand, I'm like, well, what's better than a whiskey? It's a big one. And I always remember my great aunt had sent me a card, and it was MOR, which is the more feminine way to spell it. MHOR would be the more masculine. And I said, well, that's not right. She went, no, because that also means emotionally big. And I thought, well, now I might be right, I might be wrong, but this is what I've been told. And I thought, well, what's better than a dram? A big dram. What's better than a big dram? And it's a big dram that comes from here. So hence, Dràm Mòr was born.
Nice. Big dram. And you, Victoria, you just looking you both up, you were both involved in agency. How did that happen?
Yeah, so because I used to work in European Commission, so I knew where to tap into small pockets of funding for people to travel back and forth, whether it was placements, whether it's professional qualification placements and stuff like this. So we took over Ian MacLeod Distillers on Leonardo da Vinci program at that time to come out to Lithuania to meet industry, to meet people. And we ended up in the general meeting of Lithuanian Hotel and Restaurant Association with 220 members. Wow. So we had 220 decision makers of Lithuanian hospitality looking at Glengoyne portfolio at that time. We did a tasting that lasted nearly a day. Lots of people did not make it back to the meetings. They said, okay, we'll just stay at the bar.
My fault.
Yeah, but we got 2 pallets of Glengoyne nearly pre-ordered to come out to Lithuania for the first time.
Yeah.
So that's basically what we used to do, with all of these things. And that was really good fun because people had an exposure to something that they didn't have before. So lots of people, they knew maybe Grouse, maybe Valentine's, maybe Glenfiddich, but those smaller independent distilleries were not in Lithuania at that time. It was great, to see people's faces when they were taking the first sip and saying, is this whiskey? I'm thinking, yes, it is. That's actually what it is, or it should be.
Not what they were used to at all.
Yeah, so it was very good here. So that's what happened. So after we've got Ian MacLeod's contract for export as an agent, then other distilleries came on board.
They started approaching us, which was lovely. We had Speyside Distillers, Weems Malts, Òran Distillers, Douglas Lang. We had a good few come and say, well, we've seen what you've done for them. Can you do it for us? And it was great. I was incredibly lucky because one of the sales directors at Ian MacLeod's at the time, a really good guy called Stuart Thompson, who's now a real genuine friend and I hope a lifelong friend, had said one day, can we have a wee meeting, a wee chat? I said, absolutely. Get a beer. Oh, hold on, let me check. Yeah, heart's still beating, I'll be there. So he said, I've got a proposal for you. Oh, propose away. And his exact words were, how would you like to travel the world drinking whiskey with interesting people and I'll pay you for it? So after I stopped laughing, I asked him again and he said, yeah, we want you to freelance for us. I went, absolutely. So I got the opportunity to do that for, it was nearly 9 years.
Wow. And
that was the best education. But not only that, it opened up every contact in mainland Europe for us so that when we did start bottling, I knew everybody. And it made life so much easier. That said, it meant we did it the wrong way around because we should have established our home market first and then grown out, but we didn't. We established mainland Europe first and now we're just starting to put together the building blocks for the home market.
We'll get back to that episode in a second, but the best free way you can support the podcast is just hit the thumbs up button on this video and subscribe so you get new episodes every week. It also helps lots more people find the podcast. So thank you. You and I talked before we recorded, and Victoria, we brought up that part of the world. How important is that part? And given what's happening in the world just now with, Russia, what's happening around it, has that affected the whiskey market compared to what it was before?
I think it has, because people are drinking more of good stuff because they don't know how long they're going to live. It's
Really?
the other way around.
Yeah.
Anyway, so since 2011, whiskey has been the largest spirit sold and consumed in Lithuania by volume. And I think that the statistics of whiskey consumption, at least in Lithuania, I'm not sure about the rest of the Baltic states, has been growing exponentially. Because once people discover that good thing, they cannot go back. And especially during COVID, people upgraded their drinking habits. And then it's very difficult to go back to anything, supermarket shelves. So we see more people are actually looking for single cask releases. Lots of new whiskey clubs, whiskey bars, whiskey shop. They shop usually not even in Lithuania because they cannot get stuff, but they go to Berlin to Cat and Head shop, for example. They go to whiskey festivals in Europe, whatever they are, whether Den Haag, whether Ghent, whether Nuremberg, for example, which is one of the largest German whiskey festivals. And they shop in those markets, and then they bring stock back home because there is free movement of goods, in European Union. So it's very easy to get something exclusive, unique, just for you that nobody else has got.
People are living for the day.
Yes. People are spending money.
They're
they
living
just really
for the
don't
day.
care. They don't know what's going to happen.
We've still got really, really good distribution in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Really good distribution.
So hang on. You're frying my brain. So, no. We have this amazing product, and here we are. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking we talk about the beauty of Scotland and the beauty of whiskey. But what you're saying is the people who feel in danger buy a product, not to get off their heads, but because it's a premium product and they don't know if they're going to live. So they might as well spend the money now.
They don't know what tomorrow brings. And when you don't know what tomorrow brings, you live for today. So you buy the right stuff. You enjoy your day. You enjoy your life. I've been lucky enough to work in Ukraine so many times. And I've made so many incredibly good friends there. And I speak to as many as I can of them still. And they don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. They don't know if they're going to be here. So they're going to make sure they really make the most of today. Now, is it a healthy way to be? No. No, because the stress and the tension running through them is incredible. But they're also living every day, rather than us sitting complaining and,
Which we do spectacularly well. I mean, Victoria, you've lost friends, haven't you? You've lost friends in Ukraine.
So we have, and it's really, a reality check just to see, how quick the life can end. And you never know when that's going to be. You don't know when you is going to be next. Because where we live, we're 7 miles away from the nuclear base.
Yeah.
If any of the big boys presses the red button, we will vanish and we will not even notice.
Just for people listening, most people will know Coolport is the big base, which is our nuclear submarine fleet.
Yeah, it's Fastlane, John.
Fastlane, sorry, Coolport was around the corner. Yeah. So Fastlane's the nuclear submarine base, and that's where. Is it the Glenn Douglas is where they keep some of our nuclear warheads as well? So, and that's just out your back window, is it?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. I will not see the big flash.
Yeah. Jeez.
I know. So in that context,
I remember we sat.
What is money really in the end of the day?
The last time we were in Lithuania, we went down to visit Victoria's brother, and he's quite far south in the country. And behind his house is a forest. And we're sitting having lunch. And he said, Kenny, that forest is 2 kilometres deep. I went, okay. He said, and when the 2 kilometres finish, there is a full regiment of the Russian army sitting there, because it's Belarus. He said, there is a full regiment, armed division, sitting a mile and a bit away from you through that forest. Kind of put me off my lunch. Truth be told. And it makes you realise quite how fragile the whole thing is.
And how lucky we are.
Oh, 100%, John. 100%.
Unlucky
we think we're far away, but are we really?
No, true, we're not. We're not. No, you're right. And I've seen much of this. Some of the pundits over there talking about creating a big wave that could destroy the whole of the UK, etc. Let's move on to what you do in terms of your company. So here we are. We're talking about death and destruction, the world going crazy, bad people in charge. But in the middle of it, we all get on with our lives, don't we?
Have to.
We get on with our lives, we make our money, we do our business. And you've got this, I was looking you up. I mean, you don't just do whiskey. You do rum, Armagnac.
Yeah.
Just tell the audience, what do you do? Because it's not just, here's our distillery, we make whiskey. What do you do?
So the key is, as an independent bottler, we started off just with whiskey. And as an indie bottler, we will buy cans of whiskey from different distilleries all around. The vast majority of which will be relatively neutral. The spirit is great, but it's sat in a cask that we would class as second refill. So it's been used 3 times. It's a little bit like the third use of the same tea bag.
Yeah.
Very little colour, very little flavour. It's then up to us to look at that spirit and go, okay, we're going to move this into this oak for this long, create a different flavour, a character, a whole story behind what's in there. So the whiskey side, because both of us are really whiskey fans, and we've got a little bit of knowledge, that was relatively straightforward. Rums, as a whiskey guy, even I can get whiskied out. And if I do, I'll take a wee break and I'll go on to rum for a wee while. And I know rum guys do the same, but the other way around. So there's a synergy there. And there is some incredible quality rums. And it's not what you see in the supermarket shelves, which realistically is something made of sugar, with sugar added to it, coloured with sugar, and then we put Coke in it. So technically that's a diabetic coma in a glass, not a drink. Everything that we do on the Dràm Mòr label, single cask, cask strength, natural colour, unchill filtered. I've got one in my glass just now, and it's like a Chardonnay.
Wow, very
You know,
pale.
that's
Refill bourbon, yeah.
Very pale, very tempting even from here.
it's like a Chardonnay,
Yeah,
and it is stunning, absolutely stunning.
wow.
The Armagnac, yeah, that was a wee bit of a gamble, and we thought, well, do you know what? We'll give it a go.
We did very well.
Trying to explain to the French that you want something no added sugar and cask strength. Single cask, very much malheureusement.
From Scotland, yeah.
Oh, it just melted their heads. But we got there in the end. And it's gone really well. And for me, it's just about bringing incredibly good quality, but at an affordable price so that everybody can have it. It's not just for those with big wallets, it's for all of us. And yeah, it's gone great guns. So we shall see what's next.
Where are you selling, Victoria? Where's the big market?
So our largest market at the moment is Belgium. So just because we started with Belgium and people in Belgium knew Kenny, so it was an easy shoe-in basically. So it has a big following there. So the next largest one is Netherlands, and it's growing. So we see that, every time after a visit, when Kenny goes and does either in-store pours or whiskey club tastings or big whiskey festivals, Dutch are very engaging. They always follow you on social media. They want to comment. They want to chat. They are happy that the brand owner came out so they can ask the questions direct. And that's what builds word of mouth. And then we see more and more Dutch followers actually engaging with us on social media. And the number 3 market is Germany. So that's another one. So it doesn't matter how much whiskey you pour into it. It's never enough. And there is only one Kenny, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
There's
the only one.
enough for me to make 2 of me, but hey, what the hell.
So you've not tried to crack the big American markets or the Indian market?
We are talking to people in India.
Right.
It would be a different brand, John. It would have to be something that we can recreate, because if it's a single cask, if I look at the one that I've got in front of me, excuse me, I can't see anything without these. There are only 255 bottles in the world of that. So
Okay.
there's one cask. Now,
Okay.
if I throw that into the Indian market, the American market, It's a splash in the ocean. It's nothing. America's a very difficult market. And even before Trump, it was a very difficult
separate
market.
Countries, each state.
Every state's got its own rules.
Yeah.
And you've got to be incredibly careful about your IP, because your distributor can then lay claim to your product intellectual property and hold you for ransom. So, and we found that a very hard market to deal in. So as a very small company, it's easier just to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
We have a small footprint, and we will take time to develop it properly with somebody. But let's say it's a 3-tier system. Somebody who imports does not distribute. Somebody who distributes does not sell to retail. So you have the whole infrastructure, which is quite difficult to maneuver, and to get to be listed by one of the larger players who have all 3 tiers. So they usually just slash your price by 25%.
Yeah.
So where do you go then? So we just are taking small steps, and we're looking at what Gordon MacPhail are doing, because now they have their own distribution in the United States. What William Weems are doing with Kingsbarn Distillery. They just found a really good distributor in California. So we just take our time to see who are the good players and what's the best way for us to go. Let them test the market.
I love telling the amazing story of Scotland's whisky industry and sharing some positivity about one of the incredible things this country has given the world. Now, if you want to share some positivity too, leave us a 5-star rating wherever you are listening to the podcast. It takes you 10 seconds and will help Cask to Glass reach a much, much wider audience. The market, you brought the word up, and it's quite interesting, isn't it, when you talk to people about what's the condition of the Scotch whisky market? Is it contracting? Are there some things that are doing well? What do you both think of the market just now in terms of global whisky? Or are you such a niche it doesn't matter? You've got your niche.
Well, that's where we are, John.
Yeah.
As an industry, everyone is having to tighten their belts. We're not in a particularly good place when you've got Trump spinning the roulette wheel, working out what number he's going to pull for a tariff tomorrow. When you've got 2 wars raging, there's a huge amount of uncertainty globally, and that knocks confidence. And the minute confidence is knocked, people tend to retract from any markets. Luxury goods being the first one to come away from. When we were talking earlier about countries that are frontline countries, they're the opposite. They're like, well, what the hell? We'll live for the day. But when you're in a safe country the way we are, you kind of start guarding your wee hoard. We are that lucky. We are in that niche where I was speaking to, a good friend in the industry today, and he was saying, how are you getting on? I said, genuinely, I've got to double my outturn. He's like, really? I'm like, 100%. I said, summer releases just come out. We always have classic 6 casks, and 3 of them were sold out before they even get in the bottle. So I need to try and increase what I'm doing. And he said, well, at least one of us is doing okay.
But it's working. What we need to remember is salesmanship. That needs to come back into play.
Why?
Because lots of people during COVID, because everything was selling itself. People are sitting at home, so nobody had to do any work. So people forgot how actually to put bottles into their suitcase and go and see your customers. And a lot of companies, especially in Europe, they get either governmental subsidies or just wait for a bigger festival to happen. So they're not pushing the boat. They're not out and about doing what we think they should be doing, the way we do it in UK. So that's Kenny's job usually, to go and help them sell what we already sold. But at the same time, we put him in a kilt. He's a great storyteller.
When I can fit in
and we come back with orders.
But so you don't think the Scotch whisky industry sold itself properly then? Recently? It's just taken advantage of what was happening.
Well, I see, to be honest, as far as COVID went, I don't know. There wasn't a purpose for let's take advantage of the situation. It was very much a situational incidence where you've got people on furlough wages who have got nothing to spend money on. And it's all right to have a drink on a school night because they're not getting up for work the next morning. So if you talk to some of the guys in the wine industry, they will have been going through exactly the same thing. Craft breweries would have been booming. Everything was just having a field day, and it's the worst possible way to put it because so many people suffered during COVID. And yet, as an industry, we were coining it in because nobody had anything to spend money on. And the big trouble is, once you take that step up, we've got a bit of money, let's buy something a wee bit nicer. When you go up the way, really difficult to come back down the way. So what they'll do now is they just won't buy for ages.
Because they have the cupboards full. Yeah.
And then they'll buy what they want. We also had the kind of COVID hangover where every whiskey geek had spent every penny they had on bottles of whiskey. And then you came out of that straight into a cost of living crisis, an energy crisis, everything. Perfect storm. Well, they were okay because they had a whole cupboard full of whiskey that they'd bought. They don't have to buy another bottle of whiskey for another 2 years. So
the whiskey companies aren't selling anything for 2 years, yeah.
No, it's a ski jump.
Yeah, can I go back to the kind of politics of it? We shouldn't really do politics, but it's a big moment in the world, and we're not making any statements. I'm not making any political views, and I'm not asking you for political views. But Victoria, when you speak to your friends on frontline countries, an open question: what do they think
of whiskey or of the situation? What's happening at the moment?
Situation.
Of the situation. So Ukraine is really desperate. They're praying on daily basis for the war to stop. Because now majority of people who work in our distributors company are women who lost their men. So basically the emails, if you ask them a question, how is it going? So you get sentences that are full of pain and full of
tears,
disdain and hatefulness, and at the same time, especially if they have to send their children after their parents, dads or grandfathers are dead. So you can imagine the feeling that they have to work with when they're bringing in whiskey and see there's still, half of Ukraine, which is living like a normal life in the West. They're still shopping, they're buying, they're still traveling to a certain extent. So there is that huge disbalance. They are trying to keep the normality, the feeling of normality going. There is a Ukrainian agency called BDO that works with the Scottish government to try to plan for the new projects to be built. I think there is one company which is either Creek Bridges or something like that from Glasgow that are looking to start doing infrastructural projects in Ukraine. So people are living between hope and hell, literally.
But the one thing you'll find with the Ukrainians, John,
they're feisty.
Of all the people in the world I've ever come across, they are the most warm, loving, giving, welcoming, hospitable people, and you would never want to fall out with them. You do not fall out with these folk because they're not going to give up, and no matter
or forget.
No chance. No, this is not going to go away ever.
That's for centuries now.
Now, I was in Kiev when Levchenka was released. So helicopter pilot who'd been shot down. But she refused to leave her helicopter until she had laser targeted a particular barracks that was blown up. Now, she was captured, and it turned out in the attack they'd killed 3 journalists who had been interviewing for Russian propaganda. So she was charged with the murder of the 3 journalists. And they had her in a plastic plexiglass box in a Moscow courtroom. And they read the charges to her, and she laughed and said, "Let me out of here, I'll kill more of you." She was insane in this courtroom. And even by the Russian standards, they thought, we can't have anything happen to her because it's going to be painfully obvious she didn't fall out a 5th floor window. So they swapped her for numerous other prisoners. And Kiev that day was insane when this woman arrived back in Ukraine. She was a goddess to them. And they are so proud. They're incredibly strong, proud people. And if Trump thinks he can wave a magic wand and go, we'll just give them Luhansk and Donetsk and Crimea and it'll be fine. Yeah. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
You know, one of my former teammates, Ivan Tukalo, is of Danish, is of Ukrainian ancestry, and he had a golf day that we all played in a few months ago, and he had films up, and he told a story about going back to Ukraine, and with a truckload of stuff, and the whole village turned out, and unknown to him, his great auntie was there.
Oh wow!
And he just broke down, and there were 2 or 3 other rugby players with him, and they just all broke down. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. It's so damn sad, isn't it? Here we are talking about whiskey, which is uisge, the water of life, and people are being killed. I mean, all over the world, people are being killed.
Yeah, totally. So that's really a shame.
The world's fallen off its axis, John. What you know, you look at places like America, and okay, you don't want to go overly political, but genuinely, a country that size, is that the best you can do? Really?
It's a split country, though, too, isn't it? Totally.
Oh, very much so. But it's getting more and more split, more and more divided. And I look at people like the rise of Nigel Farage here and things like that, and I'm like, well, we're obviously not learning from our mistakes because we can see them coming again. And it worries me. You know, I've got sons of fighting age.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's
and
so
that
close.
terrifies me.
If anything happens, then UK gets dragged in.
You know, you and I, our fighting days are gone.
We'll be on the kitchen soup.
We could be in the new version of Dad's Army. But I just don't wish it for anybody. Life's too short.
Life's too short.
Life's too short.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking what would be good to introduce back into NATO or basically our international law somewhere. See, if you want to start a war like it used to be in previous kingdom times,
get on your horse and lead.
Get on your horse, take your family, get into the tent and go to the front lines.
Charge. Yeah, yes. Not going to happen.
Well, old men never do they? Old men send the young men to get killed.
That's it. It's young men who have got nothing against each other.
Yeah. We strayed off the world of whiskey.
Yes, we always do.
Yeah, so export to Ukraine is still going.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
So what's the future of your company then? You've got really interesting backgrounds, different backgrounds, and you're plainly making a good job of it. I've been on the websites, good. It looks like great products, selling everywhere. What's the future for you, do you think, and for the whiskey world in general?
So in the immediate future, we want to double the number of export markets.
Yeah.
The Scottish government has Scotch whisky and textiles as 2 priority export elements going, so we get a lot of governmental support for travel and going further afield.
STI have been great. Yeah, they've really helped.
So they're doing a great job, but on the future of the whiskey world, Kenny, you...
No, before we do that, so just give me a glimpse into the world. My dad used to work for the SDA and he would go abroad and try and get grants, European grants. So in terms of if you're a Scottish whiskey company, there is support from the Scottish government, Victoria, is it to go abroad and sell it?
Yeah, I don't know on the way it would work by capita and how the size of your business, but as one of the real small companies, we've been given a lot of really good solid support, whether it's right at the very basic level from Business Gateway, who've been fantastic, all the way through to having our own SDI account manager who will help us massively with funding for travel, for accommodation, whilst we're away opening up these new markets. And genuinely, without the help they've given us, we couldn't have done it. There is no way. So massively, massively grateful. And you know, I think the Scottish Government takes a lot of flack for a lot of different things, and maybe sometimes rightly, maybe sometimes not. But
after we switched away from European Union, they kept the funding pockets for small and medium enterprises based on the governmental priority sectors, and Scotch whisky is still part of it, which is great for us. So it helped us to open Canada, open Japan. Well, not yet.
We're working on that. We're working on that.
Yeah, and there is a list of priority markets that are primary priorities and secondary priorities. So we're trying to go to those markets, and Ukraine is in top 15. So we are looking at that so that the government most probably knows something or sees something where we would need to be going. So we will see if we could go out.
I'll still go.
But business insurance and life insurance doesn't cover you if you voluntarily go to a war zone. So we will see how we can
still go.
work it out. But we see that Danish government has now committed quite a big, substantial support to Ukraine. So I think that some other European countries are already saying, okay, we'll look after this sector, we will look after that sector, we will commit our funding to put back together. And I think that Scotland wants to be part of that Ukraine's regeneration. Hopefully that happens.
I just think there's a good strong morality about it. These folk are struggling, and they're struggling to look after all of us, not just themselves. I think there are certain countries who very much appreciate that. That they're not just fighting for themselves, they're fighting for all of us. And other countries who just don't see it at all. I think Scotland very much does see that, and I think the focus that SDI has put on the fact that Ukraine's still a key market for us. Now, if I'm going to go out to Ukraine, it will be explained to me in no uncertain terms that I'm doing it under my own risk and
which you'll take. You'll happily take.
I'll happily take.
We'll go to Western Ukraine, okay?
Oh no, I'm still happy to go back to Kyiv. I've got a lot of friends in Kyiv.
I'll stay in Lvov.
We can go to Lvov and stuff like that, which is fine. But I'm
with
happy.
With 2 minutes, 3 bullets, okay in Kyiv.
I'm happy to go back to Kyiv, and I will. Alan Reid from Loch Lomond has done it, and they said, yes, it's not great, Kenny, but it's not. It's not as bad as it might be. And the very fact, the minute we all give up, the minute we stop doing that, they've won.
Yes, exactly. So that's
we've got to try and keep real life happening. We've got to try and keep the day-to-day going. And if we can keep that, and they see us coming out and supporting them and saying, you know what, yeah, we will come out and we will help you with this. They're like, it means the world to them because they know they've not been abandoned.
Yeah, and then the other thing is for the whiskey world in particular, I cannot mind what was the percentage of barley that we used to get from Ukraine before the war.
Massive amount.
Massive amounts. Whether it's Diageo or it's Ian MacLeod's, that was a huge supply coming here. So we were joking with Ukrainians, that a lot of Scottish whiskey actually is Ukrainian by DNA.
Coming home.
Barley. So that was really nice. And I think that now we have to switch that supply. And I don't know if Ukraine is still selling some of the barley coming over.
Very well.
Because obviously there's been embargoes and difficulties.
But also their coastline's been taken away, hasn't it?
Yeah. They've only got Odessa, and the Black Sea's not a safe place.
So if anything is coming through the borders, via...
Odessa's the only place they've got, but Odessa was blockaded.
I was going to say ScotRail, but rail.
That's really interesting. That's interesting, isn't it, though, that Ukraine was one of our biggest barley suppliers.
Yeah, it's the breadbasket of Europe. It always has been. It always has been. It's the one thing that we don't have to have as Scottish is the barley, purely because we could go from the borders to the very north of Shetland and cover every square inch of the country, and we still wouldn't have enough barley, so we have to buy from without. And Ukrainian barley is not only incredibly good quality, but the sugar yield on it is high.
It's grows with the whiskey
quality's great,
spec,
and it's easy to get to because it's Europe to us, rather than bringing it from the States over or whatever it may be. And it was always part and parcel. I've driven through, gone with train through acre upon acre upon acre of barley fields. And it's all coming here.
Yeah. Listen, Victoria, Kenny, I could talk to you all night, but I can see, for people who are listening, the sun's setting behind you. Okay. It's a glorious, glorious evening. Before you go then, what do you think the future of the whiskey market is? And it's a silly question. It's like asking anyone to predict Monday from Saturday. It's just not possible.
Once people have discovered real whiskey, which we have seen in Lithuania, done very well, I think the same thing is happening around the world. So in India, you see, whiskey market growing. In South Americas, you see whiskey market growing. United States, they have over 100 of single malt whiskey distilleries. So single malts are coming up. Canada is trying to build, has already quite a few.
Yeah, we've got competition.
So I think it's becoming more competitive, but at the same time, I think they come into the whiskey industry now much earlier, which we are seeing in the whiskey festivals. There is more women, there is more men. They're asking the right questions. They want to know the provenance. They want to know the story, which is very, very important. And I think that segment will definitely grow, or at least we see stable growth around the world. It's more competitive, but at the same time, it helps us, keeps us on our toes, so we can produce good stuff. Does. But I only see a bright future.
The industry, same as any industry, will have its ups and downs. And it always had historically. This is a blip that we're going through because of what's going on in the rest of the world. And it's brought us maybe down to earth with a bump a wee bit because we were riding on way too high a crest. And it's not a bad wee thing every now and again to get a boot up the bahookie and reset and have a wee think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. But we're going to be here, and we're going to be here for a long, long time as an industry, as Scotch whisky. It's not going anywhere, and that's for sure.
Bahookie is a Scottish word meaning backside. Victoria and Kenny.
My apologies.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We want, utterly fascinating. Thank you very much for chatting to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Our pleasure, John. Our pleasure.
We're never going home. We're never going home. Can we stay with you in Scotland for the rest of our lives? We're never going home. Never going home. All it took was one sip of the water.